Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Laszlo, I'm really interested because what Mr. Kine just talked about, what's going on in the world right now today, this is the first time I think we really addressed Russia as the, not so much the 800-pound gorilla in the room, but maybe the 800-pound bear in the world. Let me ask you, because I do believe geopolitically, in the geostrategic purpose of this, we have an asset that really gives us great leverage in the world. I've had the opportunity to travel to that part of the world, and when you talk to people and say about sanctions, we don't want you to buy certain products from these people, and they said, that's fine. Can you replace what you're asking us not to buy? Because a sanction only works if you can really work it to your advantage and say, fine, we can supply it. And I was looking at the chart, the ability that we have to deliver LNG at a price that still profitable for us and undercuts what Russia is doing. They have a stranglehold on Europe right now, and you see what they're doing. Just your thoughts on that, because I noticed in your testimony you talked about whether we use that as a leverage or not. I think we'd be fools not to. I just look at an opportunity right now for the States, the United States, which I think is the greatest emerging economy in the world, and maybe the world has ever seen because of the assets that we have and the ability to get things done. But just, if you would, just a little bit on our position and how we could use that to influence our geopolitical position in the world. I just think if America is truly going to lead again, it's going to have to lead by using the resources it has to the best of its ability. It seems to me it's a win-win for everybody out there.
And I think it's a very timely question. We've been dealing a lot with this lately. I think that the troubling thing on the Russia side in particular, there's a lot of, there's a lot of reasons why using energy exports as sort of an acute tool in the way that is being suggested and is quite frankly very natural from the messaging that everybody's hearing about how much natural gas we have is maybe not the most appropriate thing to do in sort of our relationship vis-a-vis Russia. I in fact think that if you'll notice, Russia hasn't cut off gas supplies to anybody yet. And very interestingly, I think that that is part of this long-standing narrative we've had with Russia about not doing that. In 2006, 2009, when they did that to the Ukraine, when they overpriced negotiations and put Europe in a very difficult position, we repeatedly told them that that is not how we think energy should be used within the international system, right? So, for example, my point is a little bit more nuanced than that, which is I think we should be exporting natural gas because it's within the current remit of our trade obligations, quite frankly. I think that people are giving us a pass because we've basically taken some time to absorb what the heck is going on in our domestic market, and that's fine. But our long-standing trade and energy interests, which I actually think not only helps us in this Russia situation in particular, but also in future situations in the Middle East, in situations that we may encounter in the future with China, is to say, no, we don't use energy-directed trade as a foreign policy tool. We would be tempted to do so now. We may come up short. Right. I do think, though, it has given us one very, very important upper leg that people don't talk about within the current situation with Russia is the fact that we are not talking about our imports from Russia. Early 2000s, we were projected to be a new market for LNG exports for Russia. We are not that now.
But if you're Russia right now, they have so few things that they can actually sell to the world, and that they can have any leverage with. The one thing you have to do. You have to be able to run your factories. You have to be able to heat and light your homes. You have to be able to do all those things. When you take that source away or when you jeopardize that source, you're at the table with an altogether different opponent. See, I don't have any qualms about what Russia's trying to do. This guy will try to bully his way through the whole world. Mm-hmm. And if we don't learn anything from history, we ought to learn that bullies just don't go away because we say it's the 21st century, and that's not really the way we like to play. This is a different playground. Mm-hmm. This is where the bully dominates the playground, and you got to send somebody else there that's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, that's not afraid to punch them in the face and get them off the playground. I just worry about this because I think we should use it as leverage. I think it's a card we can play. I think it builds a relationship with the rest of the world. The rest of the world looks to us for who we really are, and that is a leader in the world and not somebody who thinks that somehow through negotiations or sitting down and playing nice that we're going to win that. You're not going to win that battle with these folks. In fact, they interpret kindness as weakness.
Yeah. If I might just to build on that, I do think that your point about sanctions is sort of a different point, right? I mean, the idea that Europe in particular that would feel economic harm from those kinds of sanctions is willing to take that step to stand up to the Russians is in fact a whole different ballgame, right? Whether we can compensate them through near-term natural gas supplies is sort of a logistical point that I'm not sure is one that we need to
I'll tell you what, I will feel more stronger with that position when I see Germany, who the rest of Europe looks to, to lead the way on that, because as long as they're where they are right now, I don't think our other friends out there really believe that we're as strong as we need to be or can be. So I wonder about that. The other thing comes down to pricing. Coming from the private sector, I got to tell you, all my life I've listened to this. If it costs you more to get it out of the ground than what you can sell it for, probably not a good idea to keep trying to get it out of the ground. So I like to see markets rise to wherever they can. I really do believe that's what works. That's what's always worked before. I haven't seen anything come forward yet that would change my mind. But I got too many experiences with people that work with fossils, and I've seen what we've been able to do with them. We can put them out of business just by regulating them and putting them in a position. When it comes to permitting, Mr. Weiss, I got to disagree with you. I have friends that actually try to get permits. The 60 days is something that maybe is a nice thing to talk about. That's just not reality. And that may come from a study that is in a drawer somewhere that's kind of dusty. But I got to tell you, when you talk to people that make a living that way, when you talk to people that need to have that certainty going forward, and all of a sudden you're still waiting for a permit up to 2 years, now I don't think that's working in the best interest of those folks or the United States.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, thank you for allowing me to sit in.